And as we researched this topic, we came across a number of studies that'll tell you that some products can help you live longer or provide some other benefit. But then another study says that same product does the opposite. Some of the most common cases dealt with coffee and wine.
Study out tonight suggests that coffee may help in reducing liver damage.
Whereas a new study suggests drinking more coffee may actually make you healthier.
If you're pregnant, you may want to avoid that second cup of coffee.
A new report says go ahead and have that second cup of coffee.
New research from the UK says drinking just 2 glasses could put people over the recommended daily sugar limit.
In our health alert today, a new study in the journal Nature has yet another reason to add a glass of red wine to your Christmas dinner.
A new study suggests having wine with dinner could have health benefits not known before.
Okay, a lot of different information to take in there, and it made us wonder, why are there so many coffee and wine studies? And we wanted to take a closer look in our segment, The YMD. Dr. Howard Bachner is with us now. He served as the editor-in-chief of JAMA and the JAMA Network for 10 years, and that's the journal of the American Medical Association, and it's often where many of these types of studies are published. Dr. Bachner, thank you so much for joining us on The Y.
Oh, Lauren, it's a pleasure to be with you.
Well, thank you for joining us. And, you know, we'll get to the science in a minute. But first, there are so many issues that scientists and researchers study. Why does it feel like one of the most popular subjects is the impact that coffee and wine have on us? Why coffee and wine?
It's such a common part of so many people's diet. So many people drink coffee. A lot of people enjoy wine before dinner, with dinner, after dinner. So I think it's one of those items, in this case, 2 of those items that people engage with every day in their lives. So everyone's always interested. Is it helpful or harmful?
Well, it feels like we see these studies, you know, multiple times a year. We heard that clip, and we can see some of the recent headlines even, you know, saying that coffee will make you live longer. No amount of alcohol is good for you. Maybe some wine is good for you. In what ways are the questions or study methods changing so that we get these varied results? Is that part of the thing here?
Well, over the last couple decades, the quality of research about virtually any subject has simply gotten better and better. So, you know, we're always seeking biological truth. And the way we do that in medicine is we try to do what's called randomized clinical trials, where half the people would get a drug and half the people wouldn't get the drug. Now, that's obviously not possible either with wine or with coffee. We can't assign half the people to smoke, rather half the people to drink wine, half the people to drink coffee, and the other half not. And so we're left with a different type of study, and that's called an observational study. And we run into some problems with those types of studies to really try to isolate the effect of either wine or coffee.
How do you do that, though? How do you isolate it?
Well, we try to do it with what some people would say are fancy statistics.
Okay.
So we try to come up with 2 groups. We try to come up with the group that drinks wine or drinks a lot of wine versus not a lot of wine, and then those that don't drink wine at all. We compare those 2 groups. We say they're different in different ways. And then from a statistical standpoint, we try to isolate the effect of wine. The problem is, for the variables that we measure, we can tell if the 2 groups are different. But oftentimes there's a lot of variables that we can't measure that could bias the results either towards a favorable finding for coffee or not a favorable finding for coffee. So coffee drinkers, for example, may be more likely to exercise. And so we find that coffee generally helps with overall health, and it's really not the coffee, it's the exercise. And those types of variables are very, very hard to control for.
I see. So really, what I'm picking up is you don't know for sure if you're just the coffee or wine drinker and want to know, hey, you know, whether or not this should influence my habits. It's just kind of taking it in to take it in.
Correct. Except I would say the following. I drink coffee and I love wine. I think the key is to do both in moderation. Since there's not a certainty about whether or not it's helpful or harmful around health, I would always worry about the extremes, the person who's drinking 8, 10, or 12, or 14 cups of coffee a day, or the individual who's drinking a bottle or 2 of wine a day. That's not moderation. Right. So I think with coffee drinking, with the consumption of wine or all of alcohol, if you do it in moderation, I think it's pretty safe to say, if you're in good health, without any underlying medical conditions, you'll be fine.
Okay, so you heard it here, people. You can be fine if it's in moderation and you don't have some underlying health concerns at bay here. My final question for you really quickly, if we could squeeze this in. I mean, is there any way that a future study maybe could give us a more concrete answer to the debate? I mean, over the benefits or dangers of coffee and wine? Yeah,
there's some new a new type of study that's involving genetics. And there's 2 or 3 very large cohorts, one from the United Kingdom. There's a couple studies in the United States that are ongoing, that are collecting data over a long period of time, understanding the person's genetic profile, and they're trying to do a new type of method that would be able to isolate the effect of both wine and or coffee on health outcomes. Incredible. But we're a little away, a few years away from those results.
Yeah, seeing that actually play out. Okay, well, Dr. Howard Bachner, thank you so much for joining the Why, shedding some light over this, because we saw so many different headlines and studies that, you know, were really throughout our research. So thank you for adding some clarity to this. We appreciate it.
Take care, Lauren, and thanks very much.